Melbourne. Infection numbers are closing in on nearly 2,000 a day. The Premier, though, is surging ahead with plans for the reinstatement of freedoms when Victoria reaches the 80% fully vaccinated level in the first week of November. Although that may not be in time for the Melbourne Cup, the government still plans to allow 10,000 horse racing fans to attend the Flemington Racecourse on November 2. To discuss all of this and the criticism levelled at the Andrews government this weekend by that police senior sergeant, I'm joined now by Victorian Senator Sarah Henderson. Hi there, Sarah.
Chris, great to join you.
What did you make of that gutsy cop and her blunt assessment of Dan Andrews?
Well, Chris, good evening. Certainly that particular police officer did speak out in a very honest and open way. I'm sure she has reflected the concerns of many police officers who want to be engaged in proper policing, catching crooks, not imposing fines on Victorians for minor misdemeanours. So I can well understand her frustration. Look, I absolutely accept that people, when they protest, are acting unlawfully, but there's deep concern about the mandated vaccination program here in Victoria. And unlike New South Wales and other parts of the country, Melburnians are still bound by an overnight curfew in the most lockdown city in the world.
Ridiculous.
So while there is Chris, while there is this plan, what's concerning me is that many Victorians have lost hope in Daniel Andrews. I spoke to a mum today of a Year 12 student. She said, we are in despair. We don't know if, when my daughter is sitting her exams, whether if there's a positive case, whether the school will be shut down, what other plans are in place. So I feel that so many Victorians have no confidence in Daniel Andrews and his plan to reopen the economy here.
Yeah, the curfew is a terrible symbol of total control. That's why the curfew is bad. It's just a terrible sign to the people. And he has to admit to himself, he has failed to bring the police force, workers and the people of Victoria with him. And when you face a crisis like that, you've got to bring the people with you.
Well, Chris, that's absolutely right. And I know Victorians and Australians were horrified on the streets of Melbourne to see rubber bullets being fired, violence, and of course that was just unprecedented. And I know that probably many police were concerned about running up in riot gear and firing those rubber bullets. It was absolutely shocking. So I can really empathise with police who are concerned about the heavy-handed nature of how they have been asked to impose or enforce these restrictions. But frankly, the curfew's got to go. I mean, that is insane, Chris.
It is.
This means that you cannot walk outside your home in Melbourne at 9:30 at night and take your dog for a quick walk. You are no threat to no one. And this is why I think that we are seeing a surge in cases in Victoria, because more and more people are saying, bugger it. I've had enough. I'm not going to follow these ridiculous rules anymore. It's been 18 months. And I think that Victorians have lost confidence in Daniel Andrews because these restrictions have gone on for too long. They are too heavy-handed. They are too unreasonable. And in many respects, they are a breach of human rights.
And there he is ridiculing every Victorian who refused to wear a mask outdoors, which I have a real problem with. But there he is ridiculing them. And then last week, he just ditches the mask on 2 occasions. All of a sudden, it doesn't apply to him. It's hypocrisy.
Well, he certainly did say that he had made a mistake and he did apologise, but it's not a good look. And I think as our vaccination rates soar, and of course the Morrison government is driving a very strong vaccination program across the country with, of course, the states and territories and with the great support of the Australian people. So we are getting there, Chris. But what I want to see, and I think what so many Victorians want to see, is us to follow New South Wales' plan to have certainty so that when we get to double vaccinated 70% of the population, the eligible population, that we can open up and we have the confidence. And Chris, I have to say what a joke it is that there's this so-called decision that 10,000 people can go to the Melbourne Cup, and yet you cannot have your mum to visit in your own home. That is just simply so wrong. And as I say, I think Victorians have absolutely lost confidence in Daniel Andrews and his government.
Yeah, you see, that kind of rule might suit the sponsors, might suit whoever he's trying to appease there. But the average Victorian looks at this, thinks about what they're losing, what they've lost, what they've had taken away and what they've sacrificed, and thinks to themselves, why did he make that decision? They lose further faith and trust in him.
I mean, particularly when you think of the hospitality sector. So there are these draconian rules that apply to restaurants and cafes, not like New South Wales where they're using the density limits. There are terribly low caps on restaurants and cafes. And yet, in the other hand, in a great contradiction, 10,000 people can go to the Melbourne Cup. It's providing Victorians with false hope. Whilst many, many businesses are absolutely on their knees, many have failed. And of course, even parents wanting their kids to set their exams don't even know what the rules are. So frankly, as I say, we need this curfew to go. We need to follow New South Wales plan. We need to reopen with confidence. The Morrison government has done so much to drive our economic and health recovery, to move this vaccination program to the point where we're getting so close to being 70% double vaxxed in Victoria. But we need a state government that, is prepared to back Victorians in and to give us our freedoms.
Senator Sarah Henderson, thank you for your time. Have a good week ahead.
Great to talk to you, Chris.